In our last session, we heard the following email.
Dear Greg, I'm in my last year of college, and for all the time I've been here, I've had to work as a janitor in order to pay for my room and board. My parents have helped me with tuition, but I've had to pay for everything else. I know my parents don't have a lot of money, but now my younger sister is going to college, and they're paying for everything for her. Her tuition, her housing in the dorm, which includes food, and even some spending money. I didn't even find out about this until I asked her where she was going to work, and she said she wasn't working. I can't believe it. I had to work. Why shouldn't she? It's just not fair, and it makes me mad.
And in our last session, I primarily said two things. First, we tend to talk about fairness only when we're not getting what we want. Our insistence on fairness tends to be selfish. Second, it's not fairness or justice that makes us truly happy. Only real love, giving and receiving, can do that. Now, to further illustrate the relative roles of love and justice, imagine that your life's work is to build mountains. Love creates mountains. Love lays foundations, throws up peaks, dashes streams between them, plants trees to cover them, and spreads a sky over all of it. Love builds, expands, and encourages continued growth. Justice only steps in like a repairman when somebody knocks a hole somewhere to fill it in and make it right. With justice, we occasionally and imperfectly prevent injury to ourselves, maybe even put a Band-Aid on a wound. But we don't build loving relationships. Real joy comes from loving and from being grateful for what we have. When you found out about the support that your sister was getting, you chose to believe that you'd been treated unfairly. And with that choice, you made yourself unhappy. If you had chosen instead to feel grateful for the support that you have received, you would have been happy. To be sure, there are occasions when injustice needs to be addressed. If I've been accused of a crime I didn't commit, I need to speak up. If someone isn't fulfilling their end of a contract, we usually need to say something. But those occasions aren't nearly as common as we'd like to think. And even then, we need to remember that we can be happy only when we're loving in the process of seeking the justice we want. It comes down to this. We can spend our lives filling in holes, or we can build mountains. Which will we choose? I have often read in the newspaper about the trials of men who have committed murder. The families of the victims cry out for justice, claiming that they will find peace when the killers have been put to death. But do they? When their loved ones' murderers are executed, do these angry, vengeful people find genuine happiness? They may enjoy a moment of satisfaction as the scales of justice settle into a more even balance temporarily. They may experience the brief and superficial warmth that often comes when the fires of anger and hatred burn more brightly. But if the victims' families could learn to forgive and even love those men, they would find a profound and lasting happiness that no amount of justice could ever bring them. This is not a fairy tale. I have known families of victims who have forgiven and loved in this way, and they have found the happiness that I just described. This does not mean that justice should be ignored. Society, for example, does need to impose consequences when crimes are committed against others, and it does need to protect people from those crimes. What we call fair is almost always selfish, petty, and small-minded. As I say this, it is not my intent to accuse anyone, but to describe what we tend to do. Until we see the truth, we can only repeat it and experience the negative consequences of it. I'm suggesting here only that you recognize the unhappiness that you're bringing into your life with a demand for fairness. Make a choice instead to be happy that your sister is enjoying her time in college. Call your parents and thank them for the tuition that they've been paying for you, as well as for the many other things they've done for you. I look back at the many times that I have insisted on fairness in my life, and mostly I'm embarrassed. Although I'm not required to bear all injustice in silence, I now believe that being treated unfairly just might be my best opportunity to learn to love other people unconditionally. These opportunities will always arise. When they do, I hope to learn from them. Why? Because it's not about justice. It's always about real love.